Let's start our new story. It's called Baba Yaga. Once upon a time, in the big country of Russia, lived a beautiful girl named Vasilia, who was very pure of heart. Sadly, her mother had passed away many years before, so Vasilia and her loving father lived together on their own in a cozy cottage in the woods. Although they missed her mother terribly, Vasilia and her father did the best they could to be happy. Then, one day, Vasilia's father decided it was time to wed again, believing it would be good for Vasilia to have a new mother. This is how Vasilia's stepmother came to live with them. Shortly after the wedding, Vasilia's father, who was a merchant by trade, had to leave home to go on a business trip, so he left his precious daughter in the care of his new wife. As it turned out, his new wife had a secret. She was very jealous of her stepdaughter. While she had been nice to Vasilia in front of her new husband, the moment he was gone, she began to treat Vasilia horribly. She made her do all the chores and gave her barely anything to eat, and made her sleep on the cold floor. Vasilia spent her days working very hard. Her stepmother gave her task upon task to do, and during her harvesting season, Vasilia was not allowed to go back to the house until the day's entire crop had been picked. Each day Vasilia somehow managed to get all her chores done, but still her mean stepmother never had a kind word for her, and was never pleased with how Vasilia did her work. Then one day, the stepmother had a wicked idea. She wanted to get rid of Vasilia once and for all, so she said, "The days are getting colder, and soon we will need coal to stay warm. I want you to go into the forest and find the woman that lives in a chicken hut. She has the best coal. It burns all winter long. You must ask her for some." Vasilia was very scared, and she did not want to go. "But stepmother, that is Baba Yaga. She is a witch who is known to eat little children. Please do not make me go there," she pleaded. "Nonsense," screamed the stepmother, shaking her fist at her. "You had better come back with coal, or I will never let you back into this house." So off Vasilia went into the woods. She walked and walked until her feet were sore and the sun had set. She was afraid to be in the dark woods, yet even more afraid of the witch in the chicken hut. Just when Vasilia thought that she couldn't take another step, she came upon a clearing in the forest and saw what looked like a funny little house. As she got closer, she realized that it was Baba Yaga's hut, spinning and dancing on chicken legs. She quickly hid behind a bush. Suddenly, the door of the hut burst open. "Who's there?" demanded the witch. "I smell a human. Show yourself." Although she was terrified, Vasilia poked her head out from the bush. She did not want to anger Baba Yaga, so she spoke kindly and politely. "My stepmother has sent me to fetch some coal. She says it is the best in the land because it burns the longest. If I return empty-handed, she will not let me back into the house." Baba Yaga was surprised by the girl's courage and good manners. "I will make you a deal," she replied. "I will give you your coal, but first you must clean my house and cook me a delicious meal. If you do not serve me well, not only will you not get your coal, but I will eat you instead." And without hesitating, Vasilia accepted the challenge, determined to get the coal. She worked very hard, washing pots and pans, sweeping and scrubbing floors, and dusting away old cobwebs. When she was done, Baba Yaga's hut was the cleanest it had ever been. Next, Vasilia set about cooking the most delicious meal she had ever made. She gathered the best ingredients she could find and prepared a feast that would surely please Baba Yaga. And it did. Baba Yaga gobbled up everything Vasilia served her, and with her belly full of delicious food, the satisfied old witch nodded off in her armchair as Vasilia cleared away the empty plates and platters. So impressed with Baba Yaga by Vasilia's courage, honesty, and hard work that when the time came for her to announce her decision, she said, "My girl, having done everything to the best of your ability because you are pure of heart, I will give you what you came for." Then, filling a big sack with coal, she added, "And I will also see to it that you get home." Relieved that she had earned the old witch's approval, Vasilia followed Baba Yaga into her mortar, a giant flying bowl that Baba Yaga steered with a giant pedestal. Together they flew in it over the forest through the night sky. The forest did not seem so scary anymore. When Vasilia arrived at her house, she opened the door with a smile on her face. She marched right in. Her mean stepmother was shocked to see her. "I told you that you could not come inside unless you brought back coal." She thought that since the little girl had survived, there was no way that she had actually gone to Baba Yaga's chicken hut. "Now get out of here," she yelled. Just as she shouted these words, in came Baba Yaga herself. "Here is your coal," she said, dropping the big sack at the stepmother's feet. The stepmother jumped with fright at the sight of Baba Yaga. "This cannot be!" she shrieked and took off running as fast as she could. Baba Yaga gave chase in her mortar and pestle. As the woman disappeared in the distance, Vasilia waved goodbye to Baba Yaga and thanked her for the coal and all her help. Finally, the two women were out of sight and never seen or heard from again. But once all the excitement had passed, Vasilia had begun to feel sad and lonely. She sat under a nearby tree and thought of her father. Oh, how she missed him. Vasilia began sobbing quietly. As her sobs grew louder, she raised her head from her arms to take a deep breath. She saw a figure approaching. Could it be? Why, yes, it was. It was her father returning from his travels. With arms outstretched, they ran toward each other and greeted each other with a big embrace. "Oh, father, I am so happy to see you." "As am I, my little Vasilia. I have missed you terribly. Tell me all about what you have been doing during my time away." She told her father about how the stepmother had treated her badly, and had sent her to Baba Yaga's hut in the woods. She told him about her time at Baba Yaga's, and how the old woman had helped her and had gotten rid of the stepmother. Vasilia's father had felt very sorry for having left her with the mean stepmother. He promised from then on that he would make sure that Vasilia was properly taken care of. From that day forward, father and daughter lived happily ever after in their cozy cottage in the woods. It feels so good to read stories again. I hope you enjoyed Baba Yaga. Goodbye.